All right, let's kick it off. We've got Sam Stoelinga, who is our first lightning talk speaker, and we'll be talking about KubeAI. And give a hand.
Thank you. Hey, everyone. I'm Sam Stoelinga. I am one of the creators of KubeAI. It's an open source project for deploying private OpenAI on Kubernetes. So it's very Kubernetes specific. If you're an ML person that hates Kubernetes, you can also just do something else. Like, you're probably not gonna like this. But it will be a live demo. What we're gonna do, we're gonna use Heavybit, a vector database with local embeddings and with local generative models, and we're gonna deploy it end to end. And this whole tutorial, you could follow along on your own laptop. If you pop it up and have a kind cluster locally, you could just copy paste with me, and we could have the exact same setup in your environment tonight. Yeah, so let's get started. We have a kind cluster that I've already deployed. So I have a local Kubernetes cluster. This is actually running on my laptop at home. So I'm SSHing into my home laptop from here. It's running Arch Linux, pretty standard, not too beefy. 16 gigabytes of memory, so you need a lot. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna deploy KubeAI, and we're gonna have two models: a text embedding Ada 002, which is actually backed by Olama with a nomic embedding model. So even though it looks like an OpenAI model, it's not an OpenAI. It's actually backed by an open source model. Similar thing, we do the same thing for a generation model, but we're using a Gemma 2B model, so we can run it on my local laptop. It doesn't run much more than that, but it actually works pretty good. We'll see in a moment. Next, we're installing Heavybit, which I already did, and all we have to do is we just do a Helm install, and then we get this installed, and then the models will show up like I have here. The same thing we're doing with Heavybit. We're enabling the text-to-vec OpenAI module and the generative OpenAI module, and KubeAI provides an OpenAI API-compatible endpoint. That's how it just all works magically. So next, we install Heavybit. Same thing with the Helm command, and we have Heavybit running. I added some port forward so I can access it directly from the Python client. And this is actually the cool part. So when we create the Heavybit collection, we say, as the embedding model, the vectorizer, I want to use KubeAI/OpenAI as the base URL. And then the model is going to be text embedding Ada 002, which we defined earlier. Same thing for the generative model. We can do the same thing. We override the base URL with the local endpoint. And it means whenever Heavybit tries to vectorize it, it won't send it to the OpenAI endpoint. It will send it to the KubeAI OpenAI endpoint. So let's try that and see what happens. So we're gonna check the pods and see what's gonna happen with it. So this is the embedding model logs that I'm piping. And then here we're going to do the creation of the collection and importing data. And what we expect is that instead of sending it to OpenAI, we see the V1 embedding request coming into the embedding server that we're running in the same Kubernetes cluster. Oh, okay. And then, so we see data was imported successfully. And what we can do now is we can also run some semantic search queries. We create a collection of questions, and now we can ask the question, give me all the questions that are related to biology. And this time what we expect is that it will have one call to the embedding server, because it needs to convert the query to embeddings as well. So we go, yeah, we see it, this is the other embedding request, and then we should see the result from Heavybit, which says, this was the question that was related to biology. And then similar thing, Heavybit has a generative search capability where you can tell Heavybit, give me the query, but then use the results and send it to a large language model. So that's what we're doing here. We're saying, give me the questions that are related to biology, and then write a tweet with the emojis about these facts. So what we expect now is the same thing. We should see a new call to the embedding endpoint. And then the other thing that we should be seeing is our GPT-like model, which is actually backed by Gemma. It should also show a chat completion API call. And then when we go back to the result, we see it did it. So we the two results I returned, it actually added emojis correctly. Yes, Gemma 2B is very good at adding emojis. I'm not sure what else you can do with it, but it did do this pretty well. Yeah, that was the main demo I wanted to show, is how easy it is to actually get everything running locally. And if anyone is interested in getting this running on their laptop tonight, I'm available. I'm sure we can get it working. You might need 16 gigabytes of memory, but otherwise we should be good. Yeah, thank you.